morning.
You guys worship? It's beautiful. No big church has it over you. Your worship service is just so beautiful. Just wanted to let you know that. Okay? You might be small, but nobody's got it over you. It's a beautiful church you have here. Amen.
Hey, if you guys have to go to the bathroom, kind of like curb that, keep it to a minimum, because it's like a distraction when you like back and forth to the bathroom. So, appreciate it.
Okay, I'm going to read out of 2 Corinthians chapter 12. Starting in the first verse, and going down on to the fourth verse. It is not expedient for me, doubtless, to glory. I will come to visions and revelations of the Lord. I knew a man in Christ about 14 years ago. Whether in the body I cannot tell, or whether out of the body I cannot tell. God knows. Such a one was caught up to the third heaven. And he knew such a man, whether in the body or out of the body, I cannot tell. God knows. How that he was caught up unto paradise and heard unspeakable words, which is not lawful for a man to hear. I also knew a man like that. You're looking at him. So, I'll begin my testimony. 28 years ago, I took a hike 5 miles up into the mountains. And I didn't bring any water with me. And it was a hot day. And I got to my place 5 miles up. It was way up. It was a beautiful day. But I had no water. And I got thirsty, and I found a nice little pond, and the water looked so clean, fresh, and I tasted it. It seemed okay. And I smelled it. It didn't smell bad. And I said, I think I'm going to take a sip. And I did. Nothing happened. So then I took another sip, and then a big sip, and then a bigger sip. And then I really took a really big gulp. So, up to that point of my life, I was living out of the back of my van. I was kind of homeless, so I kind of can identify with a lot of people here. Maybe not to the extreme I see here, but to some point. And, but anyway, after I took that water, I sat down for a while, taking a rest, and then I was going to head back. But certain things started to happen to my body. I got weak. I started developing a high fever. I started vomiting. I started getting dizzy. And I said, I got to get out of here. I got to work my way back to my van. I got to get out of here. On the way down, my legs collapsed. I fell. One time I almost fell off a cliff on the way down. Sometimes I would fall into bramble, stickies, bushes. Sometimes I would get up and I would be able to get up and I would fall down again. And all this I kept doing all the way down the mountain, trying to get to my van so I could get to the hospital and tell them that I drank some bad water. But I did. I made it to my truck eventually after a lot of falling down and a lot of this and a lot of that. And I got to my van and I opened up my van and planning to get in the driver's seat and go to the hospital. But it didn't work out that way. When I opened up the door, I just fell in and I lost all my strength. And the door shut behind me. and I was just laying there on my back. I could not move, and the pain that I had in my body from drinking that water was just unbearable. I mean, every place in my body was just on fire, and the pain was just so intense, and my heart was beating 1,000 miles a minute. I thought it was going to jump right out of my chest. And I just cried out to the Lord, and I didn't know him, but I knew that he must be somewhere. I didn't know God. I didn't know Jesus. I never read a Bible. Nobody ever witnessed to me. Nobody talked to me about him. But I just had a feeling that he had to be there. So what else am I going to do? I'm shot. My heart's about ready to jump out, and I'm in this pain, you know. And so I said to him, I said, I don't think I'm going to make this. I don't think I'm going to make this. I think I'm going to die. You know? And, I asked him to forgive me. I asked him to, if he wanted to heal me, he could probably heal me. But I asked him to forgive me. And then I heard this voice say to me, you know, in the most hideous way, it said, worship me, and I will give you the desires of your heart. And I just was wondering, like, what the heck is this? Who's this? So I said to whoever that was, you know, when you're between life and death, you see things and you hear things. You know, that the living who are alive in this world, you just, they don't hear, they don't see. Yeah. But when you're between life and death, you see things and you hear things. You're in this place where you're on the border, you know, ready to cross. And so I told this thing, I will never worship you, and the only one I will worship is God. And I don't know who he is, but when I meet him, I will worship him. And after I got done saying that, it was like somebody took a spear and shoved it right into my heart. And then my heart stopped. And then I was laying there conscious of my predicament, but I knew my heart had stopped. And I felt my bodily functions starting to shut down. And then I felt the light starting, the light of the day was just becoming dimmer and dimmer and dimmer. And all of a sudden, I found myself standing outside my van, wondering why I was standing outside my van and why I was still in the van. And I'm wondering, what's that over? Why am I there, but why am I here? And I felt light as a feather. Like I could just float away, you know? It was cool. It was nice. I didn't feel any more pain. I felt healthy. I felt wonderful. It was nice. But I was confused. I didn't know where I was. I didn't understand why I was in the van, but yet I was outside the van. And as I'm thinking about this in my confusion, this really, really big man came standing next to me. You know, he must have been 10 feet high, 10 feet tall, and he was dressed in a long gown, and he was huge, he was muscular, it was like a really big dude. And he was a good-looking guy, and he just looked down at me, and I looked up at him, and he just put his big arm around me, and then we shot straight up. And in the twinkling of an eye, I found myself in a place where I can describe as probably the entryway, like this gentleman here. He's standing in the entryway, and I was like in the entryway, but it was a huge entryway to eternity. And It was blue, it was white, it was filled with peace. Unspeakable love was in the area. I couldn't describe it. There is no words to describe it. And so this guy, he kind of like left me there. You know, he just kind of disappeared. And I'm standing there all by myself in this huge expanse. I'm looking out at this huge expanse of this love and peace. And I felt like I was loved there. I felt like I was welcome. And then I seen a man coming out of this expanse, coming towards me. And he's walking towards me. And he also had like a robe, white. And, so he got up to about where this brother is right here. And he stopped. And he smiled at me. And I just looked at him like, man, I wonder what's going to happen next. And so he opens up his hands and his arms to me, like that. When he did that, I seen he had wounds in his hands. And then I looked down at his feet, and I seen he had wounds in his feet. They don't wear shoes in heaven, just to let you know. Okay? So, and I said to myself, wow, this guy looks like the guy in the pictures, in the stained glass pictures in the Roman Catholic Church. This kind of looks like him, you know. And he had long hair, kind of, butt neat. He had a beard, butt neat. He looked strong. He was about 6'2", 6 foot, something like that. And he smiled at me, and he opened up his hands like to welcome me, or to embrace me, like I should come and like I should be glad to be there, you know, kind of thing. But I didn't know what to think. I didn't even know who he was until I seen he had his hands open, I seen the wounds, and then I identified that with what I learned. The little I did know about God was in the Catholic Church, about the pictures on the walls and stuff. So I kind of identified him as Jesus. And then he just, I felt this love coming out of him to me, you know. And I'm saying to myself, why would this man want to love me so much? Why would he be showing me this? Because I was not a nice person. I was not a Christian. I was a bad dude, you know. And so I told him, I said, you got the wrong person. You should not be showing me this. You should not be doing this. You got the wrong man. You know. But the more I told him that, the more he kept giving me that love. And then I said, look, you don't understand. I did this, I did that. I hurt this one, I did this bad thing. And the more I confessed to him about the things that I had done in my life, the more he loved me. The more he loved me. And I kept saying, look, you don't understand. I did a lot of bad things in my life. You got the wrong man. And he just would not listen. And he just kept pouring out this love on me until he became this light that I could not even see him anymore. And then I was so overwhelmed by this love that I had to run away because I knew in my heart I wasn't worthy. And I fell down somewhere in this huge expanse of eternity. And that big guy who brought me up there, he said, he's over here. He told on me. So, and I was laying on the floor and I was crying because I was sad because I was unworthy, but I was also sad because I really wanted to accept His love. I really wanted it, but I felt so unworthy. And then Jesus came over to me. He lifted me up off the floor, and I wiped the tears from my eyes. And He looked in my eyes, and He just said to me very directly, He said, "God, I'll always love you." And then the big guy came back, the angel, excuse me, and he stood with me and watched him go back out, and then I was taken back to my van, and I woke up in my van, and I was all freaked out, of course. I didn't know what to do. My heart was beating again, and I got to the hospital. Eventually got to the hospital, and I told the doctor that I had drank some really bad water. I didn't tell him anything about that, because I think he would think I'm nuts and put me in the psych unit or something. So the doctor said, you wait there, and we'll take your blood, you wait there, don't go nowhere. So I did, and he come back in 45 minutes with the test results of the blood, and he looked at me and he said, "What are you still doing here?" And I said, "Because you told me to wait." He goes, "Nah, you don't understand." He goes, "You shouldn't be here." Because whatever you drank in the mountains, he just said, "You should not be here, you should not be here." And he looked very upset when he was saying it, because I was still there. And I shouldn't have been there because of what I had in my blood. So, but I told him, I said, "I feel fine." He said, "You ain't going nowhere." And so they gave me a bunch of stuff to drink, and I just felt better. I felt, even though I had all this death living in my bloodstream, I felt like the best I ever felt in my life. I couldn't understand that. That was something else that kind of messed me up. And so I just left. And then I found myself a couple days later in a park reading. I stole my brother-in-law's New Testament, pocket New Testament. I was trying to figure out what happened to me, trying to figure out who this Jesus is. And then I met a lady who came over to me who was a born-again Christian, and she just started to explain to me how much God loved me. When she was doing that, that same love that I felt in heaven came back down on me again, and I was like, wow, this is too much. So basically, that's my testimony, in a nutshell. So,